Good evening and welcome back to another episode from the samosachai.net series. My name is Rashmita and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor India. I'm here today joined by our very own host Vivek and of course our new co-host for this season Aditya. But before I hand over the floor to them, I would request you all to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section is open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. Our speaker will answer all your questions during the session, so please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. With this, thank you all. Enjoy your session and over to Vivek. Let me bring him in. Hey Vivek,
Hey, Rashmita, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
All good. Good
After
evening.
a long time. So, yeah, let
Yes,
us bring
it,
our new co-host. I'm super excited.
let's bring him in. Hey,
Hello,
Aditya,
how's it
you're
going?
in
How are you
office?
all doing? I
We
am.
both are in
I am.
office. We both are in office. That's good. That's good. Cool. Welcome to SamosaChai.net show and audience as well. Welcome to SamosaChai.net show. And I'm super excited that Aditya is here and he's going to teach me a lot of stuff. He is a .NET guru. He's .NET MVP for us, and he's definitely going to teach me a lot of things with respect to .NET. I'm also learning .NET, so I know a lot of stuff now because Nish has taught me a couple of things. So yes, so I mean, some of the chai.NET cannot be started without mentioning Nish in there, right? So that's the whole thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Aditya, how do you feel? You're back actually. This is your second time or third time appearance on Somerset Chai.net.
Probably. I think I've been around three, four times now. Probably the fourth
Four times more.
or so, I guess. But
Spend-
as always, it's an
You're
absolute pleasure to be up here.
so,
I think I will
anytime,
say I will miss Nish on the stream. It's always fun having him on. I
no,
remember
uh,
you,
go
you
ahead,
know
go
so the
ahead.
second stream I had, which was like my first dedicated stream on Samosa Chai. I think you weren't able to join because you were at Open Source India, and so Nish was
Yep.
hosting me. But we had you active in the chat of the car, if I'm not wrong. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, it's always wonderful to see Nish, and yeah, we're gonna miss him there.
So all the time you've attended or been part of the samosa chai show, did you ever get samosa?
Once,
Once.
once. I think that was the
So
one. That was the first year anniversary, if I'm not wrong. That's the one time. So I was
oh,
happy
that's
that it
good.
actually had samosa and chai for a change.
So wonderful. So at least I did not disappoint you. That you at least you had once the samosa, and people who have joined
Yeah.
from other part of the world. Samosa is India's evening snacks. That is why we have named this particular show as Samosa Chai.net. Chai is tea, so basically samosa and chai and learning
And
dot net.
and it is chai, not chai tea, for those who might be
Yeah,
asking. Yeah, it is just chai.
yeah, correct. So yeah, so let's get started. I know it's going to take much of our time today, whatever we are learning. So, what we are learning today is basically creating a web UI with ASP.NET Core. We'll try and understand um what is ASP.NET Core is and what are the things which we are going to use in that. Specifically, we are going to uh, design a page with razor page, right? So this is what we are going to do today, and let's get started. So if you want to execute with me, you can do it. You can basically run this particular uh, module with me with us while we are discussing. You can also try it on with your laptops, and without installing anything. I will also show you how you could do that as well. So uh, let's get started, Aditya. So I'm going to go and share the link in the chat so that people can follow with us. This is the link. So I've just shared the link. Oh, nice. A couple of them are saying that they're from Bangalore. You could also, if you have joined us, you let us know where you're joining from. That will be amazing for us as well. And some of them are saying, "Hey, Aditya." For you, Aditya, you can say hi to them. Cool.
Actually a team member from Apprate, so it's nice to have him in the stream as well. Hello. I see
This
Zamir
bit
as
of
well. And a lot of familiar names joining in, so that's always awesome.
nice. People are joining from Australia. Very nice. Good to see you and joining you. From UAE. Very nice. And Amritsar. See, we have global. So that's a beauty.
Truly.
Cool. So let's get started then. I'm going to share my screen. And where's my screen? Let me add the screen. So let me remove the banner here because okay, cool. So let's get started with this, Aditya. So we are going to build this. So it's very simple. Um, what we wanted to share today was how you could get started with web development, and there were a bunch of things which we wanted to discuss because the first one of the module which I want you to go through by yourself and learn about HTML, CSS for beginners, which is there. I'm going to share that link as well. So basically, this is about understanding the web page aspects, right, Aditya? So this is about
Yeah.
how you get started with HTML and CSS. So this is something which I started like when we were in college, when we went into college, and after first 3 years in college, we start building all of these things with using all these HTMLs and CSS and other stuff, right? And bunch of things are there here: how to use it, how to build with that, build the web application with that. So that is what is part of this. So we're going to share that link in the chat. Please take a look at it. But most importantly, what we're going to do is Razor page. We're going to use Razor and ASP.NET Core. So let's get started with this particular module. I'm going to click on Start. So it's a question for Aditya. Actually, basically, um, if you're building, basically what the scenario here is, the scenario is there is a pizza company. Let's think that it is a samosa company now because it's we are doing samosa chai show and we should not call it pizzas, and we call it samosa shop. And that is exactly will be the exercise for people who are watching this particular show, right? They go back and build a samosa chai shop instead of Conto's pizza shop. Okay, that's your goal. Whoever is watching this, just you have to go back and build it and share it with us if you have built one. Okay, that's a interesting one. Share just the pictures with us. You have our Twitter handles and just post it at that. So basically, this is a pizza shop, and they are trying to build an inventory management system into their admin website, whatever they have, and they are looking to build it in a not very constrained way. So they want it to be separated, just like on microservices, but a similar kind of microservices. That is what they are trying to do, right? So while they are trying to do this, these are the things which we are going to learn. That's what the module is all about. So there are a bunch of things which we are going to do. So why what is Razor page and what is Razor? So that is something which you have been using. You have been a Xamarin developer. You have used a couple of these components before. For me, this is also something new. So go ahead, Aditya. Just let me know what is Razor and what is Razor pages.
Sure, absolutely. So when we talk about full stack applications, full stack web applications with .NET particularly, or rather specifically ASP.NET, one of the ways that ASP.NET offers developers to let them build um, client-side content into their applications is Razor Pages. And so Razor Pages is a server-driven um, sort of a programming model that lets you build web UIs to create dynamic web apps. And what this utilizes is Razor, which is a markup syntax that lets you embed .NET code within HTML and CSS. So for other web developers, if you've ever tried and worked with any other frameworks like um, Nuxt or SvelteKit or Next, and in a way where you can build server driven applications, Razor Pages is what we use to build server driven web applications with ASP.NET. And this is a standard that has been around for a substantial number of years now. Um, it's been quite a battle tested structure as well. And with, if you're using Razor Pages, it does offer quite a few benefits, like easier setup, leveraging well planned, well tested design patterns for your application, um, easier organizing of files by features, which does help a lot with maintenance. And of course, if you're already coming with a background with C Sharp, it lets you leverage C Sharp directly within your markup, of course. So,
Got it.
this way it's far easier to define logic for your views and so on within your web application.
Perfect. So what I'm understanding is, so basically you have a page, and you have, you want to build it page centric. Um, uh, Obviously components within that page, which is, there are a bunch of tabs and other things which is
Yeah,
there, and you want to build some page specific components, and you want to make sure that is having a separate set of structure in
mhm.
place, and there is no, it's basically there is no hindrance in terms of managing it, maintaining it, because you want to build the page structures and all the things, data which is going to be listed on that page, everything is coded within that layout
Exactly,
and within that
exactly. It's far
specific
easier
thing,
to
which is,
bring the business logic
yeah,
closer to the view itself while maintaining like a physical separation in the
physical.
sense of different files. So um, it does allow swifter, easier development of
Got
and
it.
it allows you to implement logic a lot quicker within your web application there.
Perfect, perfect. So people who want to execute this with me, it's basically there is a need for you to install .NET CLI and Visual Studio Code if you are planning to use your local system, and if you are basically looking at uh, tips here, we can use code spaces as well. So I will try it out with code spaces. You can also try with me with code spaces, not having to have anything installed on your laptop. Everything is just
So let
there
me
as a
set
dev
up the
container,
naming for
and
anyone who's new.
yeah,
Yeah. Like I
it's
know I
just,
have multiple versions of the SDK installed on my uh, devices and
i
so
don't
on,
I
but
don't even remember how many there. Let me try this out. How many are there? Okay, I have.
I probably have one version more, and that is .NET 5 as well. But this
i
brings back a few good memories because I
i
started learning with Core 3.1.
I don't even remember why did I install 3, because I started .NET with 6.
I actually know probably why you installed 3.1, and that's the chances are you were playing around with Azure functions on .NET Core 3.1.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe that's the reason, but yeah, anyways, I have 3, so I can say I'm pro in .NET now because I have 3. uh, cool. So you need couple of things if you're using Visual Studio Code, extensions and other things, but let's use code spaces and see how exactly it goes. So this is what Aditya actually mentioned, right? That there are benefits of
exactly.
using Razor Page. So it's, if you see here, it's basically a page centric programming model. That's what is being mentioned here. You have a page, you have specifically want to build a page, and you want to keep that things separately and make sure those properties and other things which are there is separated out. That's when you use it as a page. And obviously you can see here there is a combination of C sharp code and markup language, and then there is separated razor syntax which is available for you to use, right? So that is exactly how you define this model. And most importantly, it uses one of the design pattern, which is separation of concerns, right? So that is um, basically you have a couple of things which has been defined, and you're actually calling out those things which is required into the main object, right? So anyways, we'll come to separation of concerns when we show them the code. That will be easier to
Exactly.
understand how exactly this works, because both of things, there are different sections which will play out here, right? So anyways, we did mention about when to use it. Obviously if you want to use model view controller, it's basically you have separate things to do, but here everything is coming together, and it's all specifically to the pages, right? So anyways, this is for productivity. So I've answered it. Let's move forward. Cool. So we'll start with how exactly it works, and we will see how to go about it. So then this is the GitHub repo which we are going to refer, Aditya. So this is the one,
Yeah.
and I have the repo here. I'll go here and click on this, and let me create a code space. Oh, sorry, cancel this. Did I fork this? No, this is not forked. Let me fork it first, and then do the code space. Let's not try the other way around. So, right. So let's go here. Oh, I already have one active. Let's delete one. Okay, now I have no code space, I believe. So let's create one. So while we create code space, you could also do that, or you could also clone this and go to this particular folder and open your Visual Studio Code, and you can basically see what is there. So what the code is all about is, um, it's like they have already done .NET new web app. So when you do that, I think there is already a structure which
It
actually
generates an
builds up.
ASP.NET web app for you.
Yeah, so once they have that structure, most of the things are defined. But if you see a couple of things, what has been defined here before even we go and edit the code, there is already been a service which is already been designed, where database is created, and service to read and write, to write about the pizzas to the database is already been created, and they have
Yeah.
made changes to the UI, and they have not created a UI for it. Apart from that, there is already a service. So I'll show you the code structure, how exactly this code structure looks like, and we'll talk about it. So what is this? So let's see if this has come up. Okay, we have it. So this is the project, right? You can see
Yeah.
the project. I think the point now you can see, right?
The project should be visible for everyone now.
So there are a couple of extensions which we mentioned we need to install. It is getting installed. Okay. So these are the two extensions which we need to install. So it is getting installed. It did get installed. So this is the product structure. So this is the project. So if you see, there are a couple of things which is there. So one is the model, and this is pizza.cs. So Aditya, what is this model? So basically, this model is, what I see is, it's basically, this is uh, the database structure, the schema kind of thing,
Mhm.
or
So
definition
what
for.
this model represents is the entity that you would be, um, you know, communicating using with the database we have, right? Like
Mhm,
when,
mhm.
as we've created this project, we know it's a pizza store as it has been defined already. And this entity defines the fields that we will be, consuming within this application. And so, what this entity here, this model here, uh, is it would equate with the schema you have for the table within your database. So, um, when we build applications with .NET, one of the ways that we communicate with databases is by using
Mhm.
entity framework, which is an object relational mapper. And so you can look at this as the object which will be mapped to your table within the database. Um,
Got it.
One really great thing about entity framework is that it supports POCO objects or POCO entities, which basically
Hmm.
stand for plain old CLR objects. And CLR is the common language runtime for .NET. So this does not need any framework specific code, as long as it's just a normal object, any object that you've created within ASP.NET or with C Sharp. This is very much usable for your database communication. That being
Got it.
said, I see we have a few attributes added to certain um, fields within this object as well. Like price has a range offered, and there is a required attribute above ID, which means that these will be enforced as this object is used to communicate with the database through entity framework.
Yeah, and this is also basically the type of the object as well. So, if you
Yeah,
see, this is an int, this is a string, and this is a size, and it has created um, its own
this is
uh,
actually one
type.
very cool thing about entity framework, and that is, even if you have custom types defined and you have
Yep.
those classes available, it will automatically create corresponding tables within your database as well for you to work with. So it's
True.
it's actually a
True.
very well architected ORM.
Yep. And if you see here, even this is like Boolean, and then
Yeah.
there is enum for the sizes of the pizzas. So this is about the model. This has been already been created by the team. So even before we make any changes and show you what exactly we are building on top of this, so this is a model which has already been defined,
Mhm.
and there is data, right? When I say data,
Yes.
uh, this is about building the context, I believe.
Yeah.
So this is the
So
entity framework which you were talking about,
exactly.
and that uses
And
that,
so
and
within
then.
entity framework, you've got database
Mhm.
contexts. And so a database context instance effectively uses a couple of design patterns. It uses the unit of work and the repository design patterns, which you might have heard of as if you've worked on um, API projects or
Mhm.
applications that involve database communication. And so it leverages both of these to um, allow your application to communicate with the database itself. And the way this would work is that it would, it has some functions that you have. Like if you look at the DB set um, template class there, it will feature a certain number of functions which would leverage the repository pattern to um, correspond with queries for your database. And that would be with the DB set. And so the DB set would effectively equate with how it represents a table essentially for you, in simpler terms. And this can leverage your own models, whichever models you have created within the project, which is how it implements the repository pattern. Because with the repository pattern, you can essentially have a template for your database functions. So any model that you have created within this project can be used with dbset, and all you need to do is, once you create the database context, you just need to run a migration to set it up for your database. And
Correct.
the dbset class will offer a certain number of functions that are wrappers for different queries for the database. So whether it's inserting a row into your database table, whether it's deleting, updating, or so on. Any sort of functionalities that your database offers, the dbset class will have functions to operate on.
Got it. So basically, whenever I'm doing any kind of operations, this context is set, and then it sets
Exactly.
the context, and then run it.
And the best
Oh,
thing is that aside from just executing queries, it also helps you synchronize and group
yeah.
changes and so on. So once as soon as these operations occur on the database, it actually syncs those changes back to the store as well. So when you're operating on this particular object, it does very well operate, like just as well as you would in your own database. And it prevents you from doing a lot of double work, which means that if you've inserted something, it doesn't mean you need to get back all the changes from uh, the database with a separate operation or so on. So it is quite a mature ORM that way.
Yep. And one of the thing which has been added to the project, even before we add a new page and other things, is basically the services. So there is already a
Yes.
service class being exposed. These are the operations which we are going to use to get the pizza, to list the pizzas which we
Mhm.
have in the inventory, to add a new pizza, and to delete a pizza. So basically, all these are based on the context, right? So
Yeah.
um, there is a, you're going to enable the constructor, and then you call it in the reserve pages, and then it just calls these services and uses these services basically, and and get going and add it into the page. So anyways, this is what has been already been provided. And if you see, there is already pages as well,
Yes.
which is nothing
Probably
but
just one more thing to add for the service itself is that if you look at the learn module or even at the project in general, another pattern that has been implemented here is dependency injection. And
yep,
so, one pattern that is thoroughly leveraged across ASP.NET today is dependency injection, which enables you to have further inversion of control. So, you can create loser coupling between your business logic and the
yep,
views themselves. And so, this as a service is injected into your application. And that's something you can see in the program.cs class, which is where the program starts running itself.
yep, here.
Like if you see, there's going to be builder.services.addDB
These are
context, and so on. And so I believe we'll probably have another. We might actually need to inject this service if I'm not
we
wrong.
might have to inject, because
We're yet to do that.
when we add
Yes,
that service, when we add create a new razor page, we will inject
exactly.
it. Yeah,
And now in the past with .NET there were external services that you would need to perform dependency injection, but now it comes with an inbuilt service container, which has made um, implementing dependency injection very, very convenient.
true. So one of the major question which people usually ask when they are using razor page,
Mhm.
like for example, these are pages and these are razor pages, and
Yeah,
as we spoke about separation of concerns, right? There is index dot cshtml, and there is index dot cshtml dot cs, right? So each
yeah,
time you create, we'll anyway see that whenever we create a razor pages, these two files gets created anyways, and
yeah.
um, with the name whatever you're given. So what are these two files, and what is the, what are their what do you call the roles in building the web application for this?
Great question. And so when we look at a .cs HTML file within, well, an ASP.NET application, this is basically a file which contains Razor syntax. Normally, there are two types of files that you would most commonly see with Razor syntax. One is the .razor format, which is purely a Razor component file. The other is a .cs HTML file. And so .cs HTML files are files that tend to contain a mix of HTML, CSS, and, well, they also allow you to leverage Razor syntax within them. So This would let you essentially embed certain C sharp syntax. And there, of course, will be very specific kinds of annotations you can have within here. But the bottom line is this would let you leverage Razor syntax within this particular file. So when it renders, it leverages both a mix of HTML and the embedded C sharp within this. The CSHTML.cs file is actually very, very interesting because this is the page model file that we may have referred to earlier. In simpler words, what this acts as is a code behind file for the view that we have. So any event handlers or any functions that we want to leverage within the index.cshtml would be kept here. And this file is bound to the index.cshtml file. So if you go back to the index.cshtml, at the top you will see an @model tag which mentions the page model here. And so this refers that this page model is binded to um, the view itself, and this page model will contain any functionalities that you need to implement into the CSHTML file.
Got it. So all of these things, whichever you are looking at, is where you want to implement into this particular page, and there are a couple of code which you want to run, and what are those functions you want to call. All these things will be listed out here, right?
Mhm.
Perfect. So this is, I mean, these are already been built. So we'll see what has been built, so that we'll get an idea. So let me run this. Okay, let me open this in integrated mode, and we will do .NET Watch. It's going to be fun. So fingers crossed, Aditya.
Should work. Should work. I have faith in the .NET team over this. Okay, the build has worked. So
Yep.
we have.
Oh, we'll open this and see what's in there. So this is the basic page they have. So if you see here, there is a simple pizza page. There is home, nothing in the home, and there is nothing in privacy, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to add a tab here and build a page out of that to list all the pizzas which is there in the day in our inventory, and to
Mhm.
add uh, a new pizza to that inventory. That is what we are going to build now. Okay, so to build that, what we should do, Aditya? So
So I think the first thing that we would probably need to do is add a page, of course, right? Before that, though, if we want to try customizing the landing page a little bit, just
yes,
maybe
yes, yes,
showing how it can work is a good idea. Um,
yep.
just to get an understanding and a hang of how um, you know CSHTML files and Razor works,
So
and then
I'm
after
just
that we
going
can
to
go
the
and add the page. Mhm.
index.cshtml and making this change. Okay, so there's
Yeah,
some title changes I'm going to make. The home for, okay, we'll call it pizza, but people who are watching this, they should be building samosas. So
exactly.
okay, so that's one. There is one more change which we're going to make in the learn module. It's very interesting. I like this one. So basically,
Mhm.
you call time span from when we are the home for pizzas, actually. So it's very interesting. So I just give my date of birth. I'm young, Aditya.
I whenever I use .NET Watch, I always very easily get lost between the whole hot reload functionality, and I think it's wonderful how the team has essentially brought hot reload to everyone directly through the CLI itself. Um,
Yep.
Even with server-driven apps, it's so comfortable to work with.
The problem is, I don't know why it is not hot reloading.
Is it not? It is.
It is hot reloading, but should I? It says it's hot reloading.
Yeah, it says it's hot reloading. I think we can just go ahead and check the
Yeah.
page once.
So this is my. I've actually added from when my business is in. The best pizzas in town. From when it's from the time I have been in on the planet Earth. So cool. Let me refresh this.
Mhm.
See, I have to refresh it to get this.
So I think that's probably just because you're also on code spaces, and so
Maybe.
um, it's forwarding the page itself, and probably this is lesser of a problem when you're building locally. Like it's just
Yep. So
that
this is
sort of thing.
basically I've just made changes in the index.is CSS HTML. I've just added this, and if you see here, this is basically a C sharp code, right? And
Yeah.
I've added a couple of things with respect to C sharp here,
Mhm.
and that's getting added. And if you see the way Razor is, um, I have HTML, I have C sharp, and I have their own syntax here, everything in one set, and it does
Yeah.
read through all of these things. So that is the beauty of it. So now we made these changes, and what we will do now is we're going to add new page. Okay, let's add new
Yeah.
page. Let's open this and integrate it. Terminal. I want to copy a very interesting command. It will say allow. So this is the command .NET new page, and I've given a pizza list is the name of the
Yeah.
page, and there is a namespace which is contours pizza dot pages, which is part of this, right? So
So for
this
anyone
is
who's not
pages.
comfortable with C sharp, namespaces are essentially collections of different classes. One thing about C Sharp and .NET is, at least for the namespace, it offers a collection, but this does not have to be forced to how the directory structure works. Like it's convenient to keep it that way, but if you want to customize it, you don't have to stay restricted to your directory structure. You can still have a common namespace for classes all around.
Yep.
And output, of course, just that's the output directory, which is kept relative to where you're running your command. Like right now, if you have a hard fixed full absolute path, then probably that's going to work comfortably as well. But if you don't keep that, it's going to use the relative path for you. So because we had a pages directory, it was outputted to pages.
True. So we got these two files. So if you see, this is common, right? Whenever we create razor pages, these
Yeah.
two gets updated. And if you see, this is an empty, empty HTML plus razor. So all we need to do is to add code here. So let's add some interesting code. I want to call the title of the page as pizza list. So if you notice here, this is the title of the page. And if you go
Yeah.
here to privacy, it says privacy. If you go to home, it's home. If you go to this, it's home. So basically,
it,
this
it goes
is
to the
the
index page essentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So basically, that's what I'm adding. I'm adding a new tab here, just like this. So I'm
Mhm.
calling it something. So that is what we are adding here, right? So that's one of the things. And there are two things which we are going to do, which is basically to list and to add new pizzas, right? To list all the
Yeah.
pizzas which is there in the inventory and to add new pizzas to the inventory. So that's the idea here. So this is what we have added now. And then what we are going to do is basically add the oh, this is the one which we didn't talk about, which is shared layout, right?
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
shared, like essentially, the shared folder contains files that would be shared across all um, pages that we have here. So like the layout page there, it defines the layout of your web pages, and so these are elements that are applied to all pages. Like for example, when you saw different pages up there, each of them had the same style of nav bar and so on. So this is a layout that will be shared all across the application.
Yeah. So
And
if you see here,
similarly, we
go ahead.
also have the validation scripts partial, and that's going to do validation functionality to all pages. View imports, namespaces and classes, view start specifies the default layout. So these are essentially other files that you may not always work on, but these are essential. And we will be working on the layout file at least to update and add another um, tab. As a consumer, it looks like a tab. It's a list element within the navbar itself for us as developers. But because we want to add an additional page there so that it's accessible of the navbar, we are working on this right now.
Fantastic. So basically, this is how it looks like. So there is home, there is privacy, and then we add,
Pizza
pizza
list.
list here. Interestingly, if you're building samosas, I don't know if you have emoji like this for
We
samosa.
have a samosa emoji.
No, try and figure it
I'll
out.
check.
So uh, that's a homework for the audience.
Yeah.
So anyways, this is what we're going to add now, and we did talk about dependency injection, right? So that is something which we need to
Mhm.
enable in on the program, right? So we did talk about um, the program.cs where we are going to create or call an uh, instance, right? So
Yeah.
basically, you're telling, okay, add scope to pizza service. So we need to add a service, the service which we mentioned, right? There is a service which was here,
Mhm.
and these are the services. So if you want to use those services, you need to call it onto the program.cs where
Yeah.
at one place it's available. Now any of the razor pages can use this service. It's not limited to this, right? Anybody, anyone who's creating a
Mhm.
new page want to use this service can use it. So that is what it is called, dependency injection within the container, and this is the container, right? So within the container you add this, and it's so for an example, if you have to think like, if you have a car, those
Mhm.
engine which is there is nothing but a kind of injection, right? So
Yeah.
that, engine has been used in all the cars, maybe different colors of cars and other things, but
Mhm.
the engine is the same, right? So that's how it looks like, right? That's how it is. Cool. Anyways, I'll go back to, I've created the injection which we discussed. um, so let me go back and make changes here. So so what we need to do here, Aditya, so basically we need to,
Add another using.
this is basically
u- Yeah,
uh,
using contour. Yeah,
the
exactly.
model, and the service. So we're going to call this service, which is to add, or to
Using
delete.
directives essentially are the equivalents of imports
Yeah,
here, and we're
yeah,
just importing the model and the service we have.
perfect. So then what we're doing is going to add a couple of things.
Yeah, so I think the first thing we want to add is the title. So that would happen, of course, within the CSHTML itself. Like we might want a couple of changes within the CSHTML. Um, and then, of course, we've got the page model we want to develop. So, um,
One
within
thing
the
about,
page model here, at least, so far, what we've
yep,
done is we've added the service. Conventionally, services, when you're injecting, we create as private and read-only types. And we're using the constructor there, of course, to inject it. um,
one thing interesting about .NET, you can just copy paste and leave it at that. But if you have been using Python and other things, like, you always look into that structure of the code.
I will straight up say I need curly braces for my code. I don't like a lot of very magical stuff where the number of spaces decide my blocks. I like curly braces. Just leave it at that.
Cool. So we have just now created a couple of things to pizza list it out. We created a constructor to call it, and then
Mhm.
get pizzas is where we all everything gets stored. Now we have to go back to our um, pizza list, and
Yes.
we don't have a HTML code to render that. So what we're going to do is we're going to add that code here. The code is very simple. It's basically table name, price, size, and delete option, and then for each of these just keep updating it. It keeps showing
Yeah.
up, and interestingly the ID which is here, because you need, when you're trying to delete something, you need to send pass the ID um, of that particular pizza, so that it is passed to the database and it deletes that specific thing. So basically that is the reason why there is a router ID here. So apart from that, everything is straightforward, everything is available, and a
This is
straightforward
actually
code.
such a good example of what Razor Pages allows you to do, because you've straight away embedded logic for loops within your, along with your markup there, and this is exactly the kind of benefit Razor Pages provide you with.
I'm not
By
sure
the way,
all of these things will show up here.
um,
Oh, it did.
so pizza list would show up, but I think one
No,
thing we're yet to do is, so if we go back to the CSHTML, we need to go back to its page model once.
you want to go to this one?
Yeah. Okay, we've defined the service itself, and
Yeah,
okay, yeah,
we've done the
like
dissemination of the
we've defined
service.
the on get, right?
Yeah, we have defined on get, basically to get the list
Mhm.
of pizzas. Everything is
Exactly.
defined. The only challenge is it's not going to reload, so we'll have to reload it. So we'll have to go back to
Did it not?
this, and yeah, so we will have to let me s- let me s-
Command C would be,
yeah, let me stop it and then restart it. Let me see whether it gets restarted,
ideally that
or it will
should
be stuck in
not be a
the it
problem.
will be stuck in um, the port. Let's see. Let's debug. Hmm. Interesting. Let's open and see. Wow.
Okay, that
Very
worked.
nice. Interesting, man. No issues in the code. Pro. Cool.
Oh,
So,
we've also added logging for what command has been run, so it's actually showing you at the bottom for
yep.
the entity framework. It shows exactly uh, what happens when we run the get pizzas function within the service, which is using entity framework to communicate with the
Yep.
SQLite database we have, which is
So,
nice to have.
very interesting to see here, right? So, what we did was we created a list, new page, new tab. We created when we created this new list, what we got is two things. One is the what we are supposed to, what happens on some of the activities which happens on the system, like on get, and list the pizzas here, and it is there is what services need to be called. It is all defined here, and this particular cs html has the html and couple of C sharp code to perform a couple of operations to show a couple of things. So that is where the interesting part is. So we created this one, we created this specific page. All the things related to this page is available within these two things, right? So all the
Yeah,
things which you are doing, all the activities you are doing on the
all the
page,
logic. Yeah,
all the logic you are bringing in is all, there is a dependency injection for this. So there is a service which is there, which we have defined it separately in pizza service.cs, where it has been designed so that anyone can reuse these services. So any of those pages which you might have multiple pages, you might be using it in multiple ways. So you know anywhere you're using it, so that is where it is defined externally, and it has been defined into the program.cs. It has been added into the container, so that is why you're able to use it into the list and the cs html.cs. So that's the basic thing what we have done, right, Aditya? Like, anything to add?
Yeah, I think one very cool tip, or just like a little fun fact that we can get into if we want to talk about dependency injection, is that we used add scoped, but that's not the only way you can inject a dependency. And there is a
Yeah.
reason why we used add scope there as well. Um, yeah, it's just, I was thinking about that earlier on, like when we were injecting this particular service in, because what AdScope does there is it basically maintains the state of the service that is, or any objects that are a part of it as it's injected here. So
Yep.
whenever you build and you run the application, um, only one instance, like it'll basically create it, for this particular build for this run. Um, when you work with the other ways, like when you've got add transient, it's going to generate it a new instance of it every single time you send a new request. So
Correct.
every on get or every on post, there's going to be a new, um, you know
True.
it's
Every
going to
time
recreate
we
state. So
every time
it
we
creates a
refresh.
stateless service essentially for you. It
Correct.
doesn't retain state. And add
Perfect.
singleton basically creates it once forever. So it's like how you would have a static class. So you could probably, that's the easiest way to compare. It creates a singleton for you. So it's
Cool.
always very interesting to
I mean
get
that's
into
how
how
it works, right?
dependency
So
injection
basically,
works.
yeah. So now what I'm going to do is we're going to add a delete option. Okay. So, oh, sorry, create new form,
Yeah,
uh,
the
new
delete
pizzas
options there.
option.
We'll
We'll also add
we'll have
that
a form to
as
create.
well.
Yeah.
So let me go here, and so this is basically what we're going to do, right? So we are going to add it here in this pizza
So in the pizza
class.
list, in the page model, we're gonna add an on post, which creates, which basically is what the form will use, and we will have an on post delete later on, which will we use for the delete functionality. So
Yep.
right now, what
So
we
I'm
have is
just
on get, which
yep.
what basically this will do is, anytime it sends a get request to the page, or the page, like for example when we open it, it gets the list of pizzas, um, thus being a dynamic application, by the way, because this isn't like you're getting this information every single time you're reloading. That's how static and dynamic web apps differ.
Correct. So I'm just adding those code, right? So there is nothing.
Yeah.
So there is a bind property which is there,
Mhm.
which is to bind the new form which has been getting created, and then there is bunch of code which I've added for on post, where somebody posts the new pizza
Yeah,
details,
so essentially
it will
whenever the
call this.
form, yeah, whenever
It's
you
been
add
submitted.
information into the form itself, and the we use a post request to communicate, right? So the moment there is a post request sent to this particular endpoint, it is going to take the information we've got from, well, the form itself, and this is where the bind property really helps us, because we are taking this information, of course, and validating it for the model we have, right? And
Correct.
because the new pizza is bound to the form, it's going to essentially have this object available for us with the information that is being sent from the model, and it'll then add that into your database using the service we have here with us.
Correct. So what we're going to do is validation also is part of the thing. So
Yeah,
there is a form which I've
and
added.
this
This is
this is
this is
this
a
is a big credit to how C sharp is a strongly typed language as well. That there is, like, we do like to have a stronger typing all across.
so the form validation.
Mhm.
We need to add it at the bottom of this particular form, or anywhere in the page.
So sorry,
This
what
form,
particular?
this This is a form validation script, right? So basically, it validates the the form which you when you submit, and
This
basically
this we
validates the
we'll add
structure
at the bottom. We'll add this at the bottom.
at the bottom of the form, right?
Yeah.
Or on the page.
These are essentially client-side validation scripts for the page.
So yeah.
So the validation scripts, what's going to happen is after it's rendered, it's
Hmm.
going to um, like validate is it when you're running the form, when you know you're actually using and consuming this page after it's deployed. So we'll keep this at the bottom of the page in its entirety.
Perfect. So let me also call delete instead as well. Let's not add a new one. Call the delete here. There's no indentation is required. That's the beauty. Cool.
That's what braces
Um,
give you.
yeah. So, anyways, we have what we have done is so we have created a simple, you know, simple structure here, which is to call new pizzas with the binding property. And then what we have done is on post, we are adding the pizza service has been called. And then on deletion, we obviously we have the ID, so we are calling that service and redirecting it. So then there is, in the HTML side of it, we have added the form to validate and other select and other things, and then there is a validation script which has been executed. So let's see if this is. Oh, I think this is the form validation thing. Let me see.
Sorry, where?
It's something. There was an error when I run it. Hmm.
What exact error were we seeing there?
There we have internal server web
Oh,
token. I think it's a form validation.
this has to go at the absolute bottom of the page, not in the middle. So
Yeah,
underneath,
exactly. So
yeah.
let's see here. I think I added it in the wrong place. Let's see now. Is it going to continue to throw me that, or it takes some time? Is it to save and
Oh, can you remove the emoji ones from pizza list? I feel
uh oh, I can't remove that. Where did I add it? That
in the at the top
this
of the
one,
yeah
this one. Let's
yeah
see
and the
if it
title.
should be removed. Okay, I think
I think it's
it's.
not a problem in the H1. It's probably I think that's probably where we're seeing, but or I didn't look at the error properly. Can you just show me the error once again?
I think it's related to some validation itself. So Control Z. So I'm keeping it there.
Oh, that wasn't a oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was a
So let
text
me
error.
let me let me remove validation and see what happens. That it shows up.
Maybe I'll have to look at the error once as well, probably to get a better
Yeah.
idea of
So
this.
it's something
Are we
related to the
getting
token.
we're getting this error right because we should ideally be able to get a stack trace properly and see
Yeah.
where we're getting this error.
Oops. This is nothing to do with that one as well.
Hmm.
It always happens, no? So the,
This was
there's
bound to happen.
always this is bound to happen. So let's try and remove delete and see. The delete is here. This one.
Um,
Wait, no. Let me do this. Oh,
no, that's it's not
skip
gonna
it.
be there.
Not this one.
Has to be in.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's. Okay. I'm keeping that thing. Let me go here. Let me do this. Control stop. Restart and see.
Was it even a live stream if there were no errors?
Yeah. See, buddy, I'm
Yeah. Could it just be a hot reload issue?
no. I mean, like everything
What
works
did
if you just restart. Everything works if you just restart. That's it. I don't know. I don't have an answer for this. How did I fix it? So everything works. You just do a restart. It just works. That's how life is. No. So now we'll add
that
a
is true.
validation. Now we'll see how adding a validation is it something to do with validation, not picking it up or doing something. Uh, this is the page, right, where we need to
Yeah.
add the validation.
So yeah,
And
underneath
I'm going to add
this.
the validation. We're going to get saved and reload changes succeeded. Hmm,
Okay, that worked.
that's all fine.
Could just
Or
be a little freak issue, probably.
should we I even stop it and restart and say,
I think we're
yes,
okay. We're okay.
we just you just don't want to jinx it now. It's
I
perfectly
don't. I
fine.
don't.
That's how it is.
Yeah.
Developers, we just don't stop, right? I'm like, let's try this one and see what happens. Now it works fine. See,
Okay. Yeah.
that samosa
We're gonna
pizza.
add samosa pizza.
That's an interesting one. But
Yeah. I think we want
we'll
to
have a
fix
pizza.
the spelling once.
Oh, okay. What is the price? $20. It's inflation, so keep the
Perfect.
$20. So I could actually delete one as well now. I think we
Yeah.
added delete one as well. So we can just click this. If you see, it's basically
Perfect.
working as a it is getting refreshed also. It's
Yeah.
not like
So and the reason
goes into a
that's
setup.
happening is because we had
Yeah.
the redirect to action function there,
Mhm.
which runs um, either the get command or so on. Like we've set it for the get command here, and what that's
Yep.
doing is it's basically fetching back um, the all the information in the table we have essentially. So it's getting back the entire list of pizzas.
True. Cool. I think this is what we wanted to show you today
Yeah.
as well. So if you have any questions, do let us know. But I'm going to share all the links in the chat. So a couple of links which we worked on. This is the link. But if you have any questions, just ask us. We still got 2 more minutes. We can wait and we can obviously take a couple of questions. Uh, but it was interesting.
We can look at the chat
I
ones probably.
Yep. So this is the link which you need to go and try and basically build samosa store for us and share that
Yeah.
samosa store for us. Um, right. So yeah, there are a couple of questions actually. Uh,
Um,
maybe that is how do
So
you
I think
speed
the
up?
first question that I see in the chat is around speeding up EF startup times. So there's a couple of things I can recommend off the top of my head. The first one is generally just have the latest stable version of Entity Framework Core installed. Uh, the team is actively working on that. It sees updates, so having the updated version is definitely a good idea. Secondly, I do remember that there is a as a part of the .NET CLI itself, there is a command that lets you optimize startup by generating compiled a compiled version of your DB context. Like they use compiled models there, and I think the command I can check once. Uh, but yeah, there is a .NET EFDB context optimize command. Yeah, it generates a compiled version of the model used by DB context. So that's one more thing I can recommend off the top of my head, and I can share that in the chat once as well. I'm not sure actually if I'll be able to. I'll send it here to Vivek because I think for links only the host can share those now.
Yep.
So this should ideally help some amount of performance. And Vivek, I've shared the link in the StreamYard chat with you.
Yeah, I'll share that.
So this is a command that will help you optimize performance to an extent. Beyond that, I guess this, we probably need a deeper look into the code base itself
Yep.
to get better understanding of the challenges.
So, so there is one more question. Where did we fetch data
Yes,
from
exactly.
Kunal? So basically,
In the
uh,
pizza service. No, sorry,
yes.
not in the pizza
So
service actually. In the
not in the
pizza
service.
page. Yeah, in the page model. Uh,
So basically, this program CS, if you see here, there is already a source.
oh yeah, there
There's
is a
database
database.
source being as part of the service at DB
Yeah,
context, which is there, and that is where the
the
thing
database
is been
is
defined.
is linked here. The
Yeah,
pizza
and then
service.
it's been
Yeah,
used by
the
service
pizza service
actually.
itself has a function to fetch information from the database, and then if we go back to the page model for pizza list, we have another function there, and in the pizza list page behind, yeah, in this one. So in this there is a function on get, and the way onget works is anytime a
Yeah,
get request is sent to this page, it will run whatever function we have in there, which is our function to get all the pizza information from the database. And so because whenever you open a page in your web browser by via HTTP requests, which is what this is using, the get request is always sent. So the moment you open this page or you reload this page, the get request is sent. So it will reload this information every single time you open this page. And so even when you add a pizza or you delete a pizza, because we have the redirect to action function set there, which is set to send a get request, it will reload the list for you.
true. Cool. I think it was an amazing session. Thank you, Aditya, for sharing all the insights. Um, I learned a lot of stuff while doing this because bunch of things I did when I was trying it out as well. Learned new stuff, new concepts. Uh, so if you want to go back and try this learn module, try it out, build samosa store for us, and share it with us, and that will be amazing for us to see. Um, Cool. And we'll be back with the next episode. And thank you, Aditya, for being my co host now. And we'll be having more fun as well from in the next session as well. So thank you, Rashmita, for joining, uh, for hosting us, not for joining, hosting us. Yeah. Cool. Ciao. Take care. Have a nice
All
weekend.
right.